Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, how are you today? We are from Group 7, Office Administration of Education B 2020, Faculty of Economic State, University of Jakarta. And today, we will explain you about writing a research paper, creating a rough draft for a research paper. Before the presentation started, I will introduce myself. My name is Radita Dayang, and my group members are Afifah Nurhayannah, Amalia Putri Alamsyah, Baninda Bella, Putri Aisyah Salsabil, and Satria Yudha.
Using source material in your paper. One of the challenges of writing a research paper is successfully integrating your idea with material from your sources. Your paper must explain what you think, or it will read like a disconnected string of facts and quotation. However, you also need to support your idea with research, or they will seem insubstantial. How do you strike the right balance? You have already taken a step in the right direction by writing your introduction. The introduction and conclusion function like a frame around a picture. They define and limit your topic and place your research in context. In the body paragraph of your paper, you will need to integrate idea carefully at the paragraph level and at the sentence level. You will use topic sentence in the paragraph to make sure readers understand the significance of any facts, detail, or quotation you cite. Summarizing sources. When you summarize material from a source, you zero in on the main points and restate them concisely in your own words. This technique is appropriate when only the major ideas are relevant to your paper, or when you need to split complex information into a few key points for your readers. Be sure to review the source material as you summarize it. Identify the main idea and restate it as concisely as you can, preferable in one sentence. Paraphrasing resources. When you paraphrase material of a source, restate the information from an entire sentence or passage in your own words, using your own original sentence structure. A paraphrase source differs from a summarized source in that you focus on restating the idea, not condensing it. Again, it is important to check your paraphrase against the source material to make sure it is both accurate and original. Inexperienced writers sometimes use the source method of paraphrasing. That is, they simply rewrite the source material, replacing most of the words with synonyms. This constitutes a misuse of sources. A true paraphrase restated idea using the word to reader's own language and style.
Counting searches directly. Most of the time, you will summarize or paragraph search material instead of counting directly. Doing so shows that you understand your research well enough to write about it confidently in your own words. However, direct quotes can be powerful when used sparingly and with purpose. Counting directly can sometimes help you make a point in a colorful way. If an author's words are especially vivid, memorable, or well-phrased, counting them may help hold your reader's interest. Direct quotations from an interview or an eyewitness may help you personalize an issue for a reader. And when you analyze primary sources, such as a history piece or a work of literature containing extensively, is often necessarily to illustrate your points. There are valid reasons to use quotations. Less experienced writers, however, sometimes overlooks direct quotation in a research paper because it seems easier than paragraphing. At best, this reduces the effectiveness of the quotations. At worst, it results in a paper that seems paragraphically passed together from outside sources. Use quotations partly for a greater impact. Documenting search material. Throughout the writing process, be scrupulous about documenting information taken from sources. The purpose of doing so is twofold. 1. To give credit to other writers or researchers for their ideas. 2. To allow your reader to follow up and learn more about the topic if desired. You will cite sources within the body of your paper and at the end of the paper in your bibliography. For the assessment, you will use the citation format used by the American Psychological Association, or also known as APA style. For information on the format used by the Modern Language Association, or MLA style. Citing sources in the body of your paper. In text citations, document your research within the body of your paper. This includes two vital pieces of information: the author's name and the year the source's material was published. When counting a print search, also include in the citation the page number where the quote material original appears. The page number will follow the year in the next citation. Page numbers are necessary only when content has been directly quoted, not when it has been summarized or paragraphed. Within a paragraph, this information may appear as a part of your introduction to the material or as a parenthetical citation at the end of sentences. Read the examples that follow. For more information about in-the-text citation for other search types.
Next point, creating a list of reference. In general, you will include the following information: the author last name followed by his or her first and sometimes middle initial, and the year the source was published, the source title, and for article in periodicals, the full name of the periodical along with the volume and issue number and the page where the article appeared. Next point, using primary and secondary research. As you write your draft, be mindful of how you are using primary and secondary source material to support your points. Recall that primary source present first-hand information. Secondary source are one step removed from primary source. They present a writer analysis or interpretation of primary source materials. How you balance primary and secondary source material in your paper will depend on the topic and assignment. Next point, using primary source effectively. Some types of research papers must use primary source extensively to achieve their purpose. Any paper that analyzes a primary text or presents the writer on experimental research falls in this category. Here are a few examples. First,
A paper for a literature course analyzes several poems by Emily Dickinson. Second, a paper for a political science course comparing television speeches delivered by two presidential candidates. And a paper for a communication course discussing gender biases in television commercials. And a paper for a business administration course that discusses the result of a survey a writer conducted with local business to gather information about their work from home and flex time policies. And last, a paper for an elementary education course that discusses the result of an experiment the writer conducted to compare the effectiveness of two different methods of mathematics instruction.
Using secondary search effectively. As much as possible, use secondary search that are closely linked to primary research, such as a journal article presenting the result of the author's scientific study or a book that cites interview and case studies. These search are more relatable and add more value to your paper than search that are further removed from primary research. Even if your paper is largely based on primary search, you may use secondary search to develop your ideas. A paper that presents an original experiment would include some discussion of similar prior research in the field. Avoiding plagiarism. Your research paper presents your thinking about a topic, support and developed by other people's ideas and information. It is crucial to always distinguish between the two as you conduct research, as you plan your paper, and as you write. Failure to do so can lead to plagiarism. Intentional and accidental plagiarism. Plagiarism is the act of misrepresenting someone else's work as your own. Sometimes a writer plagiarizes work on purpose, for instance, by purchasing an essay from a website and submitting it as original coursework. In other cases, a writer might commit accidental plagiarism due to carelessness, haste, or misunderstanding. To avoid unintentional plagiarism, follow this guideline. 1. Understand what types of information must be cited. 2. Understand what constitutes fair use of a search. 3. Keep search material and notes carefully organized. 4. Following guidelines for summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting search.
Then, when to cite, any idea or fact taken from an outside source must be cited in both the body of your paper and the reference list. The only exception are fact or general statements that are common knowledge. Common knowledge facts or general statements are commonly supported by and found in multiple sources. For example, a writer would not need to cite the statement that most bread, pasta, and cereals are high in carbohydrate. This is well known and well documented. The next is fair use. Writers might quote from or paragraph material from previously published work without formally obtaining the copyright holder's permission. Fair use means that the writer legitimately uses brief excerpts from source material to support and develop his or her own ideas. For instance, a columnist may excerpt a few sentences from a novel when writing a book review. However, quoting or paragraphing another work at excessive length to the extent that large sections of the writing are unoriginal is not fair use. Then, working with sources carefully. Disorganization and carelessness sometimes lead to plagiarism. For instance, a writer might cut and paste a passage from a website into her paper and later forget where the material came from. Any of these actions can create the appearance of plagiarism and lead to negative consequences. carefully. Organizing your time and notes is the best guard against this form of plagiarism. Maintain the detailed working bibliography and track notes throughout the research process.